I'm Boris the Bee Guy for his Beehive Apiary, Central Maine. About 95% of beekeepers in the United States are small-scale backyard beekeepers and hobbyists. And yet, most beekeeping classes and education focus on conventional industrial-style beekeeping methods. Frequent hive manipulations, using multiple small vertically stacked boxes, medicating the bees, massive sugar feeding, and taking most of the bees' honey and replacing it with sugar. Honeybees have inhabited Earth for hundreds of thousands of years, long before the pyramids. Even today, there are more wild honeybee colonies than bee colonies kept in managed hives. And the wild bee colonies thrive on natural foraging alone, without anyone medicating them, feeding them massive amounts of sugar, or exchanging their honey for sugar. In nature, wild honeybee colonies settle far from one another. This natural spacing limits the spread of parasites and pathogens between colonies. In conventional large-scale beekeeping, hives are often packed together like factories, which leads to increased transmission of pathogens and parasites. In the United States, many commercial beekeepers rent their bees for pollination. Stressed rented bee colonies are trucked across the country, further increasing their exposure to diseases and parasites. High levels of stress and pathogen sharing in bee colonies managed at industrial-style apiaries often lead beekeepers to rely on medicating the bees with various treatments. One of the most widely used treatments has been amitraz, which has now been implicated in a large-scale bee die-off in spring of 2025. Here at Forest Beehive Apiary, we keep only a few stationary horizontal layers hives. They are spaced apart, and we host varroa-resistant Russian bees, completely treatment-free. Instead of taking the maximum possible honey from the bees and replacing it with sugar, I leave almost all of the honey for the bees and harvest only a small surplus. In my freezer, I store these large Ziploc bags. They have partial honey frames inside. I took these extra frames from the bees in late fall, and I'll feed them back to the bees in spring. Before feeding to the bees, I'll bring these frames to room temperature, scratch the cappings with an uncapping fork, and sprinkle some water to make them resemble nectar. Meanwhile, freezer storage preserves the honey's enzymes and quality intact. In late fall, I remove these extra honey frames after the bees' winter nest is already set up as a compact insulated bee space, well stocked with the bees' own honey, just the way the bees naturally overwinter in tree hollows. If I had left these extra frames in the hive over winter, it would have expanded the bee space the colony had to keep warm, increasing energy demand and making it harder for the bees to winter successfully. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe.